Welcome back, everyone. It's been a little bit since I have done one of these for a few different reasons. One, I was playing in a PQ and it was far enough away that, to be honest, I was just exhausted the next day. I didn't get home until like 1 in the morning. I did do well at that PQ, top forward. I played pretty badly in the top four, and this is something that I've repeated in multiple places, but I wanted to throw out there that I am way happier with a loss where I misplayed than I am with a win, or a loss for that matter, where it was just due to variance, because we didn't really play a game. And by variance, it could be the deck failed to cooperate. It could be the matchup was miserable. It could be just, they hit the nuts. We're talking like triple force throw things, that sort of stuff, which we thankfully don't have to deal with anymore. And the initial data from the post force throw ban era is interesting. I don't know how to. I hope people aren't getting too hopeful yet. So we're going to look at some of this stuff. You could go through Swoop Competitive Hub and Swoobase are my two main things that I always check. I have not at this time gone through and really combed through the data because to me, there's a few different things to look at. One is quantity of people. If it isn't at least, it's got to be above 70 people, I think. Like, you want to be a 7-round event. So 67 is like close enough. You want to be a 7-round event, I think, just to help weed out, well, just variance got me there. And then when you see something that's crazy, like, let's say we were looking at this particular list. This is from a 40-person PQ, which maybe this is filled with killers, but there's also a Lando on top 4, so. And that's not to say that maybe this person didn't solve the meta, but it is week 1 post bans. It's a smaller size event. People are just going to be playing random ass stuff. And it's very, like, Lando is a deck that will prey on things that are unprepared. Or if you just don't know or have a clue how fast it could be. But one of the things that is an advantage of Swoop Competitive Hub, shout out to them for putting in the effort, is that it links to the Melee events, typically. It's got to be available. And this is the thing. This is what you want to look at. It's like, oh, okay, well, I saw this cool Lando deck. What did Lando have? Like, what did they play against? Well, they beat Vader Yellow. Okay. But it was round 1. Maybe that person didn't know what they were doing. Then it beat Sabine. Okay, well, Sabine can get out aggroed, and if this Sabine player thought that they were the aggro in the matchup instead of control, maybe they didn't get there. It beat an Iden. It beat another Sabine. Then it drew. Then it beat up a Boba. Then it lost to Han Green. So this is the sort of assessment that I think a lot of people don't do, and I understand why. It's like, I just want to look and say, hey, that thing won. I want to play that. That's cool. However, you have to assume that this person, the pilot for this deck, knew exactly what they were doing. I guarantee you most people, they would see a Lando online on Karabast or Petra, and they would just skip it. Most people are just not doing that. So it does beg the question. You could argue, especially in a smaller event like this, that it took until this round, like round 4, until they hit a person who really was even remotely clued in. And that's not to knock anybody they played before, but like, that isn't unreasonable. I've been to major events and seen people with terrible decks or were not very strong players, or both, at the 4-0 slot because they just so happened to hit all the other people who were bad. And that, again, that's not to crap on people. It's just the reality. I'm not a great player. I'm not a great deck builder, but I've been in contention to win events, and that's because I happened to get lucky through the first few. I started X and O, and then I was able to squeak by in the last couple rounds. Either I got fortunate with variance, or my opponent was unfortunate, or it was matchups, or it was whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm in the top 8, and it's a single elimination bracket where, again, if they brick, guess what? I got you. It's the way it works, and I think people need to recognize that when they look at some of these events. When you're trying to win the whole thing, it kind of comes down to like, what are my odds? And the reason that people will play, these known quantities that are going to be the consistent players is because they give you the best chance. It's not saying that these other decks can't win. They are just less likely to win. And I don't think that's an insane thing. And I think people get worked up of, oh, well, people are just meta slaves, or people will just only play good stuff, or only do this, or only... No. I would be playing Boba Pilot because I like Boba Fett, or I would be playing, Dr. Aphra or something. But the reality is that the math is not in favor of those things. And if I'm going to a tournament where, like I said, a couple weeks ago, played at this PQ, I didn't get home until 1 a.m. If I'm going to be out literally all day, I want to make sure that I'm putting myself in the best position. I sometimes it feels like I'm taking crazy pills when I say that, and I'm sure anybody watching this is going to, they're probably going to fall in line with the same feeling. But it does feel like sometimes I'm in a totally different reality than people when it comes to games, and not to enjoy the game however you want. I'm not saying don't play your favorite thing or don't do this or don't do that, but like, there's a reason why things homogenize. And I was just talking about this literally before I hit the record button, that in my opinion, I've stopped enjoying deck building a long time ago, like probably 2004 or so. I kind of just had the epiphany that we're just rediscovering what the devs have already laid out. They already know what the best decks are, unless they made a mistake, and it's possible they did. And sometimes you could also come up with something unique, like this Lando list that maybe can get there. But the thing is that at the end of the day, the meta is the meta is the meta, and the reason that it is because the devs created cards that support A over B. And trying to swim against the current, maybe it's possible if you're a really strong swimmer. The rest of us are going to get swept out to sea. So, that analogy didn't really work, but like, you get where I'm going with it. The point is that you want to try and play the thing that's going to put you in the best position to win. That could be trying to attack a specific segment of the meta. It could be playing to your particular strengths as a player. But at a certain point, you have to accept that some decks are going to be better than others, especially over a long haul. The bigger the event, the more you need to play something that's good. You can spike a smaller event. It's tougher to spike a large event and like get lucky for 15 rounds as compared to only 6 or something like that. Just throwing that out there as we get back into things. We're going to be looking at the meta. I am going to be reaching out to Loopy and the Late Night guys, see if maybe I can assist with casting. Hopefully this sickness doesn't get any worse between now and then. I took some Sudafed and I'm drinking some tea, and I probably sound a lot better than I actually feel, at least at the moment. Speaking of the Late Night guys, I was working with them this past Friday. They'll get that up whenever they do, if it's not already up. And had some fun playing some Snoke. You can watch me like really mess up playing Snoke. You'll know it when you see it. Maybe Snoke feels like he's almost there. I don't think he's there. Maybe it's a post-rotation thing, but it feels like there's something. I would not bring it to an event. If I had a PQ this weekend, I would not bring it. But this weekend is actually Portland, so I wouldn't recommend bringing it there either. Either way, that's going to do it for this time. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time for more Random's Thoughts.